9 for the Micronesian islands of the truth. 10 jigging, 9 jigging for the Micronesian islands of the truth. Whoa, oh, all my people say, oh, all my people say.
I represent the 4 stars in my blood. I put my fist in the air with my index finger up. Yeah, we all one people when I represent them all. From water to measure, they all show me love. Stay connected to the islands like Tetris when we dropping. Riding from micro, shocking how we styling when that FGM drop. Turn up the volume cause we got that cut fresher than your woman's perfume. Goonie in the booth, baby. Sipping goose daily. All for one purpose, y'all know what I'm representing. I'm a bit far from home, but no matter what the distance, toast a cup with my bros, cause we all on one mission. It's the Micronesian. Haters, lay down slow, we don't need them now. Raise up like you trying to reach the ceiling. Unity is what we searching for. You with it, homie, sing along.
10 jigging, 9 jigging for the Micronesian islands of the truth. 10 jigging, 9 jigging for the Micronesian islands of the truth. Whoa, all my people say, all my people say. Up in Marshall Island, what I'm here for, but still got love for my micros. And now they want it, they know who to look for. FGM to put it on the right flow. You know I'm about it, you know I'm real. Showing love to my people, that's real. It's the Micronesian, Micro Legion. Haters, watch out, fall, believe it. I know you feel it, you know we in the building. You know I stay reppin', yes I stay reppin'. One time for my RMI people reppin'. 10 jigging, 9 jigging for the Micronesian islands of the truth. 10 jigging, 9 jigging for the Micronesian islands of the truth. Whoa, all my people say, all my people say.
Check, for you, and make love for you. You drop me from your mind, I drop you from my mind. I'm gonna baby, let's go back to our normal life. Me have a real woman in my heart, in my mind, in my life. All the time, look at me, baby. On me, no one person, on this earth living. For people, the people here, and the people everywhere. Me have a real woman in my heart, in my mind, in my life. All the time, look at me, baby. On me, no one person, on this earth living. For people, the people here, and the people everywhere. One time. Remix. Ring with it, rock with it, ring with it, rock with it, ring with it, rock with it. Hey girl, I'm a sapini kuraya, mabut, makamasaki kampi kero, mama. You waiting in the mari gusaga, nuguta, maara mega gini kawagagay. Napaan ngana yuluwe gulani ninge ayal madaba kumisapa ko tinto mun mana
another proof of the lotus. Caught in the gumamiti, mangugumi chigining a manamapon. I'm mitzi do bania. It's another proof of the lotus. Caught in the gumamiti, mangugumi chigining a manamapon. I'm mitzi do bania.
Looking down on you, or not alright, not okay, can you stay with me? What did I want, what I will look for we, and check for we, and make love for we, yet we drop me from your mind, I drop you from my mind. Come on, baby, let's go back to our normal life. Me have a real woman in my home, in my mind, in my life, all the time. Just look at me, baby, only no one person, all this earth living, all people that people here, many people everywhere. Me have a real woman in my home, in my mind, in my life, all the time. Just look at me, baby.
Kim's on the mic again. Singing the original song. I'm gone.
So let me tell you about this girl, yeah, she's so fine. And every single day she's running through my mind. And I just wanna call her mine. Because your smile makes my day, and you take my pain away. Oh my darling, love me back, 'cause I'm gone, no more trying. I'm gone, I'm waiting for you, 'cause I'm gone, no more lying. I'm gone, I'm searching for you. Baby, won't you come over to my place? To my place. I wanna feel your embrace. Your embrace. So baby, tell me now. Tell me now. I wanna love you some way and somehow. Because your smile makes my day, and you take my pain away. Oh my darling, love me back, 'cause I'm gone, no more trying. I'm gone, I'm waiting for you, 'cause I'm gone, no more lying. I'm gone, I'm searching for you. I've got you in my heart, in my heart. There won't be anything to tear us apart, tear us apart. So baby, tell me now, tell me now. I wanna love you some way or somehow, because your smile makes my day, and you take my pain away. Oh my darling, love me back, 'cause I'm gone, no more I'm gone, no more lying. I'm gone, I'm searching for you. 'Cause I'm gone, no more trying. I'm gone.
Sharanim, Havade, Lenmo, Malolele, Mokite, Taloba, Aloha. First, I want to take this time to acknowledge those whose land I am standing on, land of the Ahanchuyuk and Kalapuya. Our guests who come from different walks of life and different parts of the world, our Tierra Production, Masters of the Currents crew, and all of you joining us on this wonderful Sunday. My name is Jayceleen Ifenuk from Tunuk in Chuk, Micronesia, and I play the character Soso in the play Masters of the Currents, the first ever nationally touring show about the Micronesian experience in Hawaii, played by Micronesians. Brought to you by Tierra Productions, based in LA, created by local girl Leilani Chan and her partner in life, Laos refugee and Kalihi OG Ova Xiaoping. Tierra highlights the experiences of people of color through the creative arts of theater. Once again, I am Jayceleen Ifenuk, and I will be your co-host alongside Emerald. Emerald?
Hi, Linwo or Ikwewo. Thank you, Jayceleen. I am Emeraldrose Hadik, and I am also a cast member of Masters of the Currents, and I play Eva. And I would also like to do a land acknowledgement of where I am coming from today. I am currently in Fairbanks, Alaska, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional lands of the Dina people of the lower Tanadar rivers. And I'm also from Melim Kushai, so along si Besak, Paing Kowos, everybody. Jace.
So why are we here? Because of current circumstances, sadly, Masters of the Currents is unable to tour this fall, but we are still able to bring the experience to you through Coconut Wireless. Coconut Wireless is a 3-part virtual series, and in today's episode, we will be celebrating Pacifica cultures through oral sharing of traditional dances. We have some very special guests with us here today, and I will give them this time to tell us a little about themselves.
All right, our very first special guest is Mama Ino. I have been blessed to know her for the past couple of years. She is also a cast member of Masters of the Currents, but I will let her take it away and introduce herself. Mama Ino?
Thank you, Emerald and Jayceleen. Renalame Monson. It's a blessing to be here with you all today. I am so honored to be here on the land of the Kanakamaulis in Hawaii. And so I want to also honor them and thank them for this opportunity. Who am I? I am Tinana, one of the cast member. I play the grandmother or the mother in the play. And I wear many hats in my community. One of them is Vice President for the Micronesian Health Advisory Coalition, who is a partner of Tierra Production. And my day job is at Kokuakali Valley Clinic as a community navigator. I am a proud advocate, storyteller, and poet for the Micronesian community. And I love to share our culture and tradition with anybody who likes to hear and wants to share. So it is a pleasure and honor to be here with you all today. This is out there.
So Mama Ino. Also tuning in from Hawaii, we have Austin. Hi, Austin.
Hello, everybody. My name is Austin. I have roots in the outer islands of Yap and Palau, so Wurmomito and Ali. Um, I was I was employed with the Center for Pacific Island Studies as student outreach assistant under a great mentor of mine, Dr. James Viernes. Now currently I'm with K Vibe, which is a nonprofit in Kalihi. We operate as a bike shop. We use that capacity as a bike shop um, to engage with the youth in civic matters, community matters, and get them aware of the issues that are happening around them. And yeah, thank you guys for having me. Um, Very humbled to be here.
Thank you so much, Austin, for being here. And next we have coming in from Los Angeles, Heidi. Hi.
Papa there, everybody.
Oh,
Heidi King here, executive. Just wanted to come on and support everyone here. We are a cultural dance group. We have language classes. We have an immersion camp. We continue to do our work, a nonprofit, and we cover from Los Angeles County all the way down to San Diego County.
thank you, Heidi. Also from LA, we have Tony.
Hi, everybody. Aloha. Hello, my name is Tony Pasion. And yes, I am based now on the lands of the Tongva people, Los Angeles. I am right by Venice Beach, so I am on the other side of the ocean. A little bit where I am from, my lineages are from Pampanga, Lawag, and Antipolo in what is now known as the Philippines. I am born on Ohlone territory, San Jose, California, and I honor the knowledges and the migrations that have led our lineages to be in the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Yeah. And finally, we have coming in from San Francisco, Tupo. Hi, how you doing?
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh. Can we turn your mic on, please? I love it. Can you double check, see if your mic's on?
No. Can't hear you, Tupo. Sorry. Okay. Oh, yes. Thank you, everyone. Sorry. So Tupo. No? Yes. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. While Tupo works out the technical difficulty there, we will move on to the next. Thank you, everyone. We are so excited to have this conversation with you all. And to start off our conversation, we will view you a video. And this video shows a stick dance performance by Pacific Voices Youth at one of the first community sharing of Masters of the Currents. And this is during the earlier stages of MOC in 2017. Honolulu Theater for Youth was generous enough to allow us to share on their stage. So if the background looks weird or it doesn't match, it's because we were on their Mulan set.
Okay, I think we can watch the video.
Nice.
Marte, Marte, Marte! Salamar! Sasu! Ushia! Ushiru! Ushiru! Sampai sudah sampailah! We are back, and I think Tupo's back. Can we have Tupo?
Yes, I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Malalele, my name is Tupo Motulalo Latukefu Drake. I have roots in the islands of Tonga, and I currently reside on the occupied lands of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples. I am a student at UC Berkeley, and I'm also the executive director for Pacific Islanders at Cal. And so what we basically do is we focus on the recruitment and retention of Pacific Islander students, as the Pacific Islander populations at the UC schools are very, very low. And so, yeah, I'm very grateful to be here sharing space with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tupo, and
Thank you,
all
Tupo.
for your patience while we work that out. Again, we are excited just to have you all in this space and to be able to conversate. Mama Ino, can you tell us a little bit about that dance? Why the Christian song?
Why the what?
The Christian song.
Christian song.
So the video that we showed, the chant, the stick dance with the Pacific Voices Youth. Can you tell us a little bit of that about that dance and why the Christian song?
Well, I would say that it's not just because they're Christian, but in the cultural setting of our people, our first protocol is to be honoring the heavens and our Maker. That is very valuable and important to us. So, in sharing the first protocol, um, you can hear the chant that the boys are doing. We we make that up because, you know, in the during the stick dance, it's actually like stories of war dance, but because we're changing it into our own and using it, um, make it more contemporary to fit the time and the place that we're at, we're still trying to still honor our protocols in doing the honoring of our Maker and giving the glory and honor to our Heavenly Father. And in doing that, we just set the tone of the dance and making sure that before we do anything that is valuable and important, we always give honor where it is due, which is the heavens and to our Maker. But you can also hear in the voices of the children that many of them, because they are born and raised uh, in the state or in Hawaii, they actually don't know how to really speak the language. But it's very interesting that through the chants and through the chanting of the protocol and saying the honors that they had to say, they were also able to learn their own language through the chants that they were saying it. It's just they sound like missionaries because they don't really speak the language. And so it's interesting when we first teach them, uh, it take a little bit longer because we had to make sure that they not only understand what they were saying, but they are saying it in the right way. And so I'm really proud of them that they choose to wanna honor the heaven through the stick dance and participate in this. So Pacific Voices is the name of the group, and we are also another youth program like Austin's program, which is K-Vibe under the Kokoakali Valley Clinic.
Mm. Mommy, you mentioned um, something about you mentioned something about the kids not knowing their language, but using this stick dance, this dancing program as a way to connect the kids back to their culture and their language. And I think Heidi, you're also doing something with the youth, right? Using dance, teaching the youth dance. Can you tell us a little about that too?
Yeah, I mean, in the past, we've done a musical play ourselves, and um, the way that we, would teach, the stick style of dancing. It's like we've reenacting something, a storyline or something like that. But really, it's just teaching them the rhythms and teaching them how to stay on pace and on time. Um, and really just giving and providing a percussion to tell the story. So yeah, it's very similar. We've had to, tomorrow dance is very new. We've reconstructed it through the master of tomorrow dance, Signet Frank Rabon, and we always looked to our Micronesian brothers and sisters and looking at how those stick dances are so similar in telling the building of our our gumas or our the foundation of our homes. So there's a lot of similarities, and it's because of the loss of dance styles that we had. So it's very similar and very telling in what they, whether you know the language or not. It's very telling.
Hmm. Great. I like that. It's because a lot of our cultures are very similar. And I think, especially at this time, it's important that we find those similarities and connect those similarities as one and to stick together as one. Um, Back to Mama, you mentioned something about practicing contemporary dances. And Austin, coming from Yap, Yap is known as the traditional island of the Micronesian islands. Is that still um, true for today, especially around dances and the practice of the traditional dances?
Uh, I'm from the outer islands, so it's a little bit kind of different. I don't want to speak too much on the main island and then have
Right.
my fellow Yappies come in and correct me, check me. But
Um,
I will say that that is their reputation on the main island. They're very traditional, and they try to stick to the traditions as strictly as they can, even with the changes. And you'll notice it's a lot of the changes are there. I would say that they're more subtle than most Pacific Island dances nowadays. From their costume um, to their movements, I would even venture to say their lyrics, even though it's a different language. That's just my um, venture to say. And I know for the outer islands of Yap, it's definitely um, it's a challenge to try and keep those kind of um, traditions, I guess, pure, so to say. I know that I've participated in a local dance before. I had the privilege of going back home, and I asked one of my uncles to write down the lyrics for me, just so I could see if I could learn. And it was weird because, like, I didn't understand any of it because a lot of the words that were being used were like old language that people don't use like in everyday conversation anymore. So to me, it was like a whole different language. So I was really stuck trying to see how I'm gonna be able to learn it. So now it's still struggling, but the main thing that was important for me is that I had it like a physical copy of the lyrics. Uh,
hmm. And I actually just remembered you were part of Microfest this year, right? The Celebrate Micronesia Festival. How was that? How was it different this year?
this year it was different. It was moved online, um, so it was very. I was one of the MCs, so it was very new. I think going into it, a lot of the organizers and people on the planning committee, we didn't know how to, um, I guess, see how we are going to streamline everything so that it made sense in the program. And so a
Mhm.
lot of things were ended up being pre-recorded, especially like the dances. Um, I think the only
Oh,
things that were live were like the talk panels, um, and then the MCs whenever they would come on and stuff like that. But it was it was good because just like we always do, we adjusted and we overcame and we put out something for our community to be a part of and be proud of. So
right. And that's the times we're in, where almost everything's moving online. Um, how's we're in COVID, and like Austin was saying, this year was different because they had to move everything online. Um, how is that working for all of you? Tony, I know you're teaching dance. How is that going with the whole COVID and teaching classes?
Yeah, it feels like we've got to learn a different playing field. So, it's just brought out another side as far as what it is to be resourcefulness, what those qualities were,
Are we
being a
frozen?
navigator and being of the lineage of navigators, and what that looks like now. So, it brings out another quality in me and in the businesses that I am a part of, as far as studios, dance groups. It brings out another side where it brings us even more into the culture. It actually makes us sharper, you know, because especially during this time where we don't want to waste our time, and time is very intentional. For me, I'd rather do it, you know, doing something that I really care about, and I'm choosing that, and so that's why my draw to culture and to dance and to movement, and for movement to be accessible medicine and communal care has actually very much strengthened for me. And that's the message that I'd like to share that I continue to share with my inner circle and with the people around me. So it's a whole nother playing field. And I feel like it's an opportunity to really dig down deep into our DNA and our ancestral rememberings to see how we navigate through it, because I feel like we've done this before.
Right. We keep navigating like our ancestors did. Tupo, how is COVID impacting your work?
COVID really put a huge dent in a lot of plans that I've had. This is my first semester at UC Berkeley, and it's completely online. It's completely virtual, and I think it is really hard. It is hard, especially with all of the losses that there's been in the community due to COVID, and so we're basically forced to learn where we mourn and mourn where we learn. So it's hard to build like a division between the two, and that's taken a toll on a lot of the students. And definitely outreaching to students has been harder than ever, especially like when kids are done with their classes. They do not want to be on their computers afterwards, and I can say the same for myself. But I mean, and then there's also like the social distancing, which is like, you know, it's for everyone's good, but like I've never felt so isolated in my life until like these days. And even when I'm surrounded by all of my family living in a multi-generational home, like if I have to go to the store, I have to isolate myself for like a day before I can see everyone again. Even like taking those little steps can feel very isolating and make people feel very alone. And when I say people, I mean me, because I'm speaking for myself. But yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We're gonna take a pause here, and we are gonna show another video. Go ahead, Ems.
Yeah, for this next video, if you don't mind paying very close attention to these two characters, this video is from our show, or the show that we're in, Masters of the Currents, and if you just pay attention to both of the characters, hopefully the video you can see. And yeah, let's watch the video.
Alonso, me cover fio. Hã? Tu buru posisi toi ke po fio. As me tos me disi sa ko até o me aro po esi ro sukul. Kero.
I don't know what to do. I'm just so angry.
Oh? Me terá que sofrer. Uti. Tu boca peraí tu. Tu quis masana.
Chuki's martial arts.
Tu buru ke boy up ti betzim ke saptet. Eki kiro ke boy apo.
Practice my traditions. Fight with my mind, not my fist.
Wakuwe, is up to carry that feel.
This staff is more than a weapon?
Yay, we so way.
My responsibility.
To put it on family, matter.
Protect my family and my clan.
Si the area, me ya que fito veya.
Know who I am and where I come from.
Ina, on, fan, on, fan, on, fan, on. That's it.
I got this.
Oh. kasih deh. Ha? Tipe kira kafe pakas sampai. Kakak kasih deh. Ha?
What's this?
All right. That right there has got to be one of my number one favorite scenes of the show. If you guys were paying really close attention, were you able to just sense that emotion that Alonso, the guy, was going throughout like the whole scene? For example, so for Austin and Tupo and Auntie Ino, you're in the show, but for you two that have seen the show and was there personally and watching this live, what did you feel throughout the whole scene? Austin, if you don't mind starting us off. Oh, sorry, or Tupo, either one.
Ladies first. Ladies first.
Okay. I don't know. I just remember being so like full of emotions during that time. I think as a first generation Pacific Islander, I have noticed and experienced a lot of different like undertones in different communities where there was like a lot of discrimination that the character was experiencing in the show, and like I hella related to the anger and like the fear as well. But then when Mama came in and they started playing together, oh. I just sorry, I remember crying then too. I remember crying then too because what she was doing was she was reminding him of his culture and his roots and his family, and she was really grounding him, and I was crying when I saw it because that's exactly what my grandmother did for me, and what my parents continue to do as well. So yeah, it was, man, you guys really hit it right on the nail.
That was
Yeah, I think
Austin, if you don't mind.
Echo that. Pretty much the same. Everything that Tupo said, plus the tears. I mean, I think all of us that were born and raised out here, first generation. I was born and raised in North Carolina, so not to directly identify with the struggle of growing up here in Hawaii, but I could definitely relate to that identity struggle that I think a lot of us and even the youth nowadays go through. It's like you're, this is what you are, but you're not enough of this, or you know what I mean. So I think in that sense, I definitely could relate it, and just finding solace in like the bits of culture like you can grasp. It might be your grandma or your uncle, your aunts, or whatever, but just like yearning for that piece of home because you weren't born and raised there. So I definitely can relate, and still can relate. I think it's just one of those struggles that I'm just gonna keep going through. But yeah, that's how I felt.
I definitely feel that too. Um, no matter how many times I see it, and I'm in the show, but every time I see it, I feel it, and it's that pressure even in our young guys now. You have to act tough. Stand up for yourself. There's that struggle, that pull, and even as a woman myself, I still feel that pull, that be tough, but at the same time, it's like, no, that's not the smart way. Just go to your teachers or go to your principal. But even I, at that young age, I didn't feel comfortable going to an adult because I was taught to stand up for myself. So I definitely feel that pull, that struggle that Alonso was going through.
Yeah, so which brings me to my next question. Tony and Heidi, I don't know if you noticed, but throughout the show, I mean, throughout that one scene where Alonso was filled with so much anger, and then he started doing that Chuki's martial arts with Tinana, and you can totally see, like, and this is where I always get goosebumps. You can see him happy and smiling, and like his facial expressions just changed. For your first time watching that, like, what did you feel? What was your feel towards that? Heidi, if you don't mind starting.
Yeah, it's definitely that story of, you know, folks like us being out in the diaspora, away from home, and finding our way, and helping it, and actually showing it through dance, right? Showing it through the culture. We did a musical play back in 2008 where it was a young man, you know, getting into gambling, getting into trouble at school, you know, graffiti, and sending him home. And it was that struggle of figuring out how to hone in on the audience that understands and can place themselves, you know, in that character of not really knowing, maybe they're first generation too, or they've just been away for too long. And then they go back home and they run into, you know, for us, it was, they ran into a Tatamona spirit, and struggling on why they're lost in the jungle, or why they kept twirling around a Ladi stone, which is the foundation of the Chamorro culture. And then same thing, we used that 8 build, that stick dance, that actually is the motion of building, and the work that you put in to building your house, or the house of the warrior, the Guma Uritao. So and yes, finding that rhythm, and again finding that support system that Mama Ina gave him, that's where the struggle changes, and a light clicks on, and you can feel that his ancestors were with him, and relaying that over to the audience is amazing. It's something that people may not understand initially, but if they do, it's because they understood, whether it was in language or not, they can see it through the actions and through the feeling of how even Mama Ina is like pushing the stick to him, like, and he's catching it. He already knows, right? Because it's inside of him. He knows it's inside of him, and it's inside of all of us. So it's finding that power and finding that grounding with support from our community, right? That's beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful scene.
You're definitely right. Even if we don't speak the same language, we still can feel that power connection. And I can say that is true by when we tour, like we've been to San Francisco, and that's how we met Tupo. But we had a diverse audience. It wasn't just Pacific Islanders. We had whites, we had Latinos. And with the show, they're sharing about how even though that wasn't their culture and their language, we still can relate. And that's just the beauty of just this whole show, and touring with this show, and just connecting with so many people of different cultures and background, and just finding those similarities. And it empowers the kids too, to, you know, when they're in school and they're being bullied, and just finding those similarities and finding the connections, and just being there for each other.
Yeah.
I think what is also very important too is that many of our children
Yeah,
born and raised
thank you
abroad
for that, Heidi. That was beautiful. And
forgot
the dance
that
was very beautiful.
they are
And the
the
entire
pride
scene was very impactful. So
and
thank
joy
you,
of their
for that
family, and that
beautiful performance.
everybody in their
I
family are
connect
counting.
with it in what's that? Hello?
I think we were you and Mama Ino talking at the same time.
Oh,
That's fine. Go ahead, Tony.
okay. Well, I was gonna say that you know, in my practice and just being on the life journey of martial arts and cultural dance and exploring and being with the movements that are intersecting between both, exploring that range of function and aesthetic, and also the range of toughness and softness and the power in both of those. I really got that out of that scene. The spectrum of, yes, we can do this martial style, and also we have the ability to shift into a different energy that is dance. And there's something about working with sticks and percussion that's it brings out the martialness, right? It's like if you're working with scarves, it's a different feeling as well. It's a different aesthetic. It's a different element. When you're working with sticks, it's very definite. You know, if you get hit with a stick, you know it, right? So there's something about the lessons of a stick, and that's what I bring with me as I watch this in and as a principle that I've learned through Filipino martial arts and Kali stick fighting, and how we do have dances that were created when the martial arts were banned from our islands, and we had to create the dances so that we could perpetuate protecting ourselves, which is something that I feel that indigenous peoples all over the world have done. Capoeira in Brazil and many other places, we do this. So, and so I really connected it with it in that way, and also in the intergenerational way of teaching the lessons, you know. And there's a lot of lessons in, you know, just a dialogue and in the use of the percussions of what was happening. It was really beautiful. All the interweaving of the emotions and the shifts of the dialogue and the use of the sticks in the negative space and with the sound is very it was very layered. So I appreciated that.
Thank you, Tony. There is something you mentioned that softness and hardness, just the comparison. And that just reminds me of the, the roles of our mamas and our papas in our culture. You know, you're speaking. Do you want to continue with what you were sharing?
I couldn't hear anybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry, Tony, I didn't hear you. But I just want to also share that it's very important, especially for the children and for all the folks that are born and raised um, outside of our culture and are disconnected, that they remember that they are the pride and joy of their family. And everything they do is really honoring. And when they practice their tradition and they want to learn, that's something that all parents look forward to and are very honored when they see that transpire in the life of their children and the next generation. And I think that many of the um, many of the uncles and aunties that um, are traditionally um, doing the work to make sure they pass these forms of cultural protocols and values and everything that it means to be islanders. When their generation get it, it's like we we made it. We finally made it, and that's important to continue to share those culture and tradition so that we survive and exist no matter where we at and no matter what time and space you're in. You are the pride and joy of your ancestors.
Thank you so much for that. That is very, very true. Which brings me to my very next question. This is open to anybody, but when you do see a family member or even a young sibling or older sibling or even yourself on stage representing where you are from, your home island, doing a traditional dance or anything cultural, like do you feel that sense of pride and everything? Like I remembered in San Francisco, Tupo and them blessed us with an amazing show, and to this very day I still get goosebumps every time I rewatch that small videos that we have. But you know, like Antino, you have your kids that do those stick dance that we just saw, and then Tony, you're a choreographer, and every single one of you guys, like do you feel that sense of pride when you see either the younger generation or your grandparents representing where you're from?
Yes.
Go ahead, Tupo.
Sorry, I didn't want to speak over anyone. I just yes, 100% yes. When I first started learning how to ta'olunga, um, it was really hard because of all of the steps and the sequences and the haka. It's like doing it at the same time and making sure you're on count. And then on top of that, not knowing the language, it was very difficult. But I remember when I was young, like it was either the first or the second time I ever performed for anyone. Like I was so excited because I saw how happy my grandparents were. My grandpa would be right behind me, as would my dad. And even today, like if I still dance, you guys see Henry, my husband, he's always there dancing with me, or my dad. Like it's it's a really really proud moment for not just me but like for any Pacific Islander in the room, especially if we're dancing like in spaces that are predominantly white, or there's the population of Pacific Islanders is low. It's a proud moment for all Pacific Islanders, I think. I mean, not just when I dance, but when we see anybody dance, because regardless of whether or not the execution or if they're a professional at it, just because they took that responsibility on themselves to represent their family and their islands, it's definitely one to be proud of. Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah, I think just to echo that, I'm in no way, shape, or form like a professional dancer. Yeah, but being a part of Micronesian Connections, our student organization at UH, um, we use dance as a way to do exactly just that, like really like put down for our people and put down for our culture. And it's interesting because you have like this mix of people from all over Micronesia, not just the FSM. So it's like, how do we come up with a dance that is honoring everybody's culture? Because yeah, like Palauans, Pompeians, Chukis, Yapis, Coast Ryans, Marshallese. So it's like it was interesting, but I think it all came together at this past Micronesian Youth Summit that we had here. Um, I remember we were practicing, and the next thing you know, there's another student organization. I think PPA, Pan Pacific Association, and so they're a mixed group of islanders from everywhere. And so they hopped on board. So we had like Tongans with us, Samoans with us, Fijians with us, and when we got up there to do a performance, we had to figure out a way to split ourselves because we couldn't all fit on stage because we had that many people. And so like of course there's always like people saying, oh well, that's not Micronesian, that's not cultural. But I think for me, I think anything is Micronesian if a Micronesian is doing it. You know what I mean? So I think um, that's more or less what performance and dance has been to us as a group, and us here in diaspora is just a way to, like you said, get up there and really show our pride for our culture, and especially at things like the youth summit where there's other Micronesian students sitting there watching us, and you know, so yeah.
That's interesting you brought that up. I think that's one thing that we all go through when we do something. There's always there will always be critiques, right? Something's not Micronesian enough, or there's always something that comes up. Um, but I'm interested because I know you've all done, dances for a while. You've been doing the things you've been doing for a while. How do you kind of work around things like that? Like, those bumps that come up. How do you work around it?
You have
You don't
to you have to really just, I mean, I'm going on my third decade, and it's really just being, strong in what you believe, and knowing that what you've been taught, you now have the skill, and you now have everything that you need, the tools to pass it on, and knowing that you have that responsibility is all that you need to continue forward. So when I teach, and like Austin said, when you're all together, it doesn't matter. We do cultural, performances or cultural workshops, and even if just one person gets it, you see that light click on. That's all you need to continue. We Chamorros, we're very interracial now, so a lot of the kids, they might only be like one grandparent that is of Chamorro descent. But once they start to learn where they're from, they start to learn their language, or even just meet someone, their peer, that is, of their culture. They shine, and they treat like all of our group, all of these dance groups, like a family. It's an extension of their own family, and then they start to learn how to locate their families through their clan names. So for me, it's teaching to instill the pride in the children, and the parents supporting that, and then them knowing that, like Couture and Chamorro Foundation is a community of families that's their extension of their families. So it's just really helping them understand that the pride is there, and that we're all here to support them. But I too, Austin, I learned in college. I was at San Francisco State, started the Pacific Islander Club there. And it was because we were so, we had, Samoans, Tongans, Maoris, Chamorros. I mean, it was just Hawaiians. We had such an array of different islanders that we learned young that to be inclusive of all, and not, have these labels of, Micronesian, Polynesian, or Melanesian. We were Pacific Islanders. So even in that pride, it's funny that we learned that through the educational system, right? Like outside of, you get to the college level. Now we're lucky that in California and other states, there's these clubs, Pacific Islander clubs, that the kids can join, just to start to build on that pride and get to know a little bit. And once they get a glimpse of someone else's, Islander culture, you know what, that light clicks on, and they want to learn more about their own. So hats off to all of you for continuing that. I come from that lineage, so thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. That is so true. And you don't have to raise your hand. You can just go ahead and talk, Mommy.
I just want to add to that. All our traditional dances and all our traditional culture comes with a great discipline that, each and everyone, whether it's a teacher or a student, there is a discipline that you learn from this, and that can be applied to your daily life and your struggle and everything that you do. So it's also part of who we are in reconnecting to that part of our culture and our traditional that is discipline of knowing your place, knowing what you need to do, and your responsibility to carry on.
Thank you, guys. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, honestly, I went to a high school that every other year, Auntie, you would know about this. We would do a cultural day, and that is where for a whole month, or maybe even before then, our principal would give us time to get with um our districts and then have a plan of what cultural dance we want to do. But while we're having our district meetings, all the other districts would get together, and then you see, for my cultural day dance, we had kids from Chuk, we had kids from Yap, we had kids from Punt Bay, like coming together because they just enjoy being together and just dancing together and learning each other's dances. And each dance has a story behind it. Like how why is this dance the way it is? Why is that dance the way it is? And so they sit together, they hear the stories, they get so intrigued, and then we want to go listen to their stories, and then we want to learn their dance. So it just becomes like this amazing month of just everybody telling the stories behind the dances and everybody hanging out together without even having to stress about school, and just sharing each other's cultural background and each other's cultural traditions and dances. It's amazing whenever I do see like a friend or a family member just wanting to learn about our culture or our dances.
Yeah. For the
Yeah.
stick dance, it's really interesting that for the Turkish culture, most of the stick dance is actually um, telling the story of the war dances. And what we have done, we had to protocol and ask permission that we were gonna include the girls to participate in the Turkish traditional uh, cultural dance, because it is, even though we are matriarch and the women are the strength behind everything, when it comes to the war dance, it's usually the men who tells those stories. And that's also another reason why we had to change up some of the language of the story. Like when one of the auntie was sharing with me the the chant just for one specific war dance, I was like, I don't think I understand any of them. And I was worried more about, um, you know, what I might do to dishonor the story of or the legend that was told in that stick dance. So to be safe, what we did was take chants and take parts of uh, some of the chants that relate to today's situation or what's going on, and even to incorporate the biblical words that is very grounding for many of the children that are in our programs. So yeah, I just wanted to add that as well.
Thank you. So before Austin needs to step up, but before you do, Austin, do you have any last words to say?
Um, sa nga rin kami. Thank you guys for having me on here. For those old friends that we are reconnecting up here, keep doing what you guys are doing. Heidi and Tony, I think just you guys are, we're just meeting now, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you all again, and thank you to the production staff.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. So I do have one more question if you guys don't mind. This is to Mama Ino. If I believe I do remember you mentioning while you were doing the stick dance with Jermaine or Alonso that because you were a female or a mama, you had to go through something to make sure that it was appropriate for you to teach the stick dance or on stage. What was that you had to go through, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, like I was saying, like before you do everything or anything at all, you need to protocol your elders. You need to know who are those elders. That is important to you and is part of your lineage to ask permission and make sure that you're given um, the yes or no to move forward with what you have to do. And so it was funny because I do a lot of protocol. I do a lot of going to ask permission. And then all of a sudden, the younger kids started to come and ask permission from me. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm still asking permission because there is no such thing like, you know, in the Western culture, you turn 18 and all of a sudden you're given your own responsibility to be your own individual. But for us, there's no such thing. You can be as old as I am today, and I still need to protocol to my elders and ask permission. And so that's what I did before even going into teaching the stick dance and teaching the cultures. I had to make sure that I protocol my own lineage and make sure that I got the permission to even be teaching some of the um, cultural perspectives that we are practicing today.
Thank you, Mama Ino. Before we close this out, we want to open this up to all of you if you have any parting words.
I'll go. I think what I want to say is that when Masters of the Current came to San Francisco, it was such a transformative experience. As a Tongan brought up in the Bay Area, I wasn't aware of I grew up not knowing about Micronesians and Melanesians, and I don't put that on anyone. It was just the way it was. And I didn't realize how much space Polynesians took up, you know, um, everywhere I also didn't realize how much discrimination that Melanesians and Micronesians face. I had a feeling. I didn't have a feeling. I understood the discrimination that Melanesians faced due to the color of their skin, but it wasn't until you guys came and you put on your show that I realized how great the discrimination you guys are facing. It was really changing. It really changed my view on, because I really ground myself in being inclusive in every space that I'm in. And until I saw you guys, I realized that I wasn't, I wasn't being as inclusive. And so I'm just grateful to be here with you guys, to share space with you guys. Masters of the Currents was such a dope production. I hope that you guys get to continue in educating everyone in the States, hopefully all over the world. And yeah, much love to you guys.
Thank you. The beauty of sharing spaces and just connecting, right? All that we learn just by sharing space. Thank you, Tupo. Tony, do you have any last parting words for us all?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Yeah, just thank you so much for continuing on with the power of storytelling and just with these conversations that, you know, they're so important to keep having and to be able to use this platform to just connect, you know, and envision connecting in another way. It's really important. So thank you for that. I also thank Teada as also being a nomadic people of color production company and theater of color. And so in the very nature of that, there's a lot of resilience in that. And so I appreciate Teada for holding this kind of space, you know, to continue on with our intersections. So thank you, and keep going with our cultures. It's you know, in a time where you know it's very much important to set a strong foundation for whatever is to come in the future. Culture is the way. So I support everybody here and all the lineages and the networks that we energetically pass through and through our dances and through the messages in our dances. And so I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. Heidi, if you have any parting words, also if you want to share of what your group is doing now, this is your time.
Sijus Masi to thank you all. I'm humbled and I'm honored to share this space with all of you. And I thank you all for being open and allowing the conversation to flow. I feel connected to all of you, and I'm so proud to hear the effect that the Masters of the Current has had on other folks. And I hope that someday, you know, we all can see it and can all be part of that that glory in the accomplishment of sharing, you know, the views of the Masters of Current. But I want to personally thank Mama Ina for her presence and sharing her wisdom and knowledge with us. And I'm also so happy to see all of you young folks. I mean, I may appear younger, but you're probably young enough to be my children. But I'm just really happy to see you all involved and working towards, you know, inclusiveness of all Pacific Islanders. It's the beauty of our culture that brings us together, and I hope that it continues. And know that Couture and Tomorrow is here should you need anything. We are part of a larger group, Pipit and Tautautanu in Guam. There's about 13 groups back home in Saipan, Tini and Rhoda, and Guahan, and there are about 7 to 8 of us growing out here in the continental U.S. So if there's anything we could ever do to help, please check us out. We are on our website, coutureandtomorrowfoundation.org, or even on Instagram. But again, thank you for sharing the space and allowing me to be a part of it. And I'm humbled by your presence. Thank you. Sijus Masi.
Thank you so much, Heidi. Mama Ino.
Well,
we'd love to hear your wisdom one more time before you leave us.
Well, this is really hard time for everyone during this COVID. And to share this space to talk about the importance of staying connected through our tradition and our culture, and yet be distanced through this whole pandemic. We have to continue to follow through with the distancing, the mask, the washing of hands, all those things that are very, very important for our survival so that we can get back to being with one another physically. So I think my last word is stay focused in your tradition and in your culture. Although we cannot practice it, we can still practice the solidarity and the groundedness of who we are and what our tradition and culture has given us. That even through this distancing time, we can still be connected somehow. And it is an honor and pleasure to share space with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It is so
Thank
double.
you. Yes, sir.
We are just so grateful to share this space with you folks and to have you share your wisdom and all that you are doing. Thank you so much. We will let our guests go, but if you are interested in following up with our guests, we will share a link on our social media. So follow us on Facebook. We are also on Instagram, and yes, we will share their information on there.
And we have a couple more slides that we can show you guys after we say goodbye to our guests that we can show you. So stick around for that.
Yes, we also have resources
right.
coming from COVID-19.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. It's been a blessing and an honor to have you and share this space with you.
Thank you, too. Thank you.
All right, so as Jayceleen just mentioned, over, hopefully I'm pointing it, yes, right here we have all our guest members who were just here with us, and then all their links right below their names. We will also have it up on our Facebook, our Instagram, I believe, and I think we also have it up on our YouTube. So just go ahead, and then if you'd like to learn more about them, we will have that up on the social media pages and their links attached.
So if you're interested in signing up for classes with Heidi or Tony, their website link will be on Facebook.
All right, next.
So for COVID-19, if you want to know more information on what's out there, what's the latest news, resources, you can head over to the FSM Task Force USA website. They're also on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, I believe. And they share resources from the States and Hawaii. And more COVID-19 resources you can find on the KKV or Kukuakalihi Valley website, and we are Oceania Helpline. And these are more of the programs or services that are offered at Kukuakalihi Valley. They have a pharmacy, sewing program, dental, optometry, WIC, family medicine. You can check out their website. And more resources on COVID-19, KKV, we are Oceania, and also including Southern California Pacific Islander COVID-19 response team. and their websites are listed there. And I believe all of this link will also be added to the theater production website.
All right, guys. So if you enjoyed this episode and you enjoyed last few months ago's episode, we have another one coming, but that is not until a couple more months. So it's right there. Whoa, right there. Yeah, thank you. That's not until February the 21st, 2021. So
same time.
That's same time. We will have different guests, I believe, and it will be hosted by different people. So if you enjoyed the last two talks, then take a picture, save it on your calendar. We'll have them up. We'll remind you all that on February 21st, 2021, we will have that link up, and then we'll have all that up. Guys, go on.
So upcoming tour schedule. Hopefully by then COVID-19 will be gone and we are able to travel. But we will be in Los Angeles, or Masters of the Currents. The show will be in Los Angeles in April, Utah in April also, and then Honolulu, Hawaii in May. But in case COVID wants to stick around longer than we want him to, and we can't tour, we will definitely have it. We'll still try to bring the show to you, hopefully virtually.
But, let's keep crossing our fingers because I would love to meet you guys in person, and COVID needs to go away 2021. But yeah. All right. And if you would like to see Masters of the Currents continue, if you've already seen Masters of the Currents and you'd want to see more of us, you can help by going to www.theater.org, or you can go to this website right here and donate. Theater has been around for, I believe, many years now. Jason, if you could correct me, but they have done such a great job at helping us out and telling the stories of the Micronesians. And this is, again, as we mentioned earlier, this is the first Micronesians on tour.
Right.
And we're on stage and we're performing.
Theater really highlights people of color experience through theater and the creative arts, and putting people of color on the stage. So like us, this is the first Micronesian show with a Micronesian cast. So if you would love to support more of that work, we and would love to donate, you can make a donation on the theater website, or the website that is the address that is listed on the slide.
And Micronesians on tour, that's pretty awesome. I mean, when we went to Big Island, I'm born and raised from Koshai, and a couple of kids came up to me and they go, are you really Koshayan? And then I start speaking something Koshayan, and they go, this is awesome. Thank you guys so much for representing. And I will do whatever it takes to represent where I'm from. And,
Yes, so highlighting people of color experiences. And seeing Micronesians on stage is a pretty new thing, pretty rare. So for the kids to see us on stage and to hear their language on stage has been very empowering for the youth that we're able to see the show. And that brings us to the end of our episode tonight. We just want to make a quick shout out to Max and Jade, our miracle workers. They did a whole lot.
They are amazing. Yes, thank you very much. Max is you know, he made Jade made the slides and everything, and Max is making us look amazing on camera. You know, thank you, Max. So we would like to throw out a shout out, a nice loud shout out to both Jade and Max.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope to see you all on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Jigging, nine jigging, for the Micronesian islands of the jigging. 10 jigging, 9 jigging, for the Micronesian islands of the jigging. Whoa, oh, all my people say, oh, all my people say.
I represent the 4 stars in my blood. I put my fist in the air with my index finger up. Yeah, we all one people when I represent them all. From water to measure, they all show me love. Stay connected to the islands like Tetris when we dropping. Riding from micro, shocker how we styling when that FGM drop. Turn up the volume cause we got that cut fresher than your woman's perfume. Goonie in the booth, baby. Sipping goose daily. All for one purpose, y'all know what I'm representing. I'm a bit far from home, but no matter what the distance, toast a cup with my bros, cause we all on one mission. It's the Micronesian. Haters, lay down slow, we don't need them now. Raise up like you trying to reach the ceiling. Unity is what we searching for. You with it, homie, sing along.
10 jigging, 9 jigging, for the Micronesian islands of the jigging. 10 jigging, 9 jigging, for the Micronesian islands of the jigging. Whoa, all my people say, oh, all my people say. Reppin' Marshall Island, what I'm here for, but still got love for my micros. And now they want it, they know who to look for. FGM to put it on the right flow. You know I'm about it, you know I'm real. Showing love to my people, that's real. It's the Micronesian, Micro Legion. Haters, watch out, fall, believe it. I know you feel it, you know we in the building. You know I stay reppin', yes I stay reppin'. One time for my RMI people reppin'. 10 jigging, 9 jigging, for the Micronesian islands of the jigging. 10 jigging, 9 jigging, for the Micronesian islands of the jigging. Whoa, all my people say, oh, all my people say.
Moirelle ho wenmelire la diuni bonte ma sora langati ngoyara makala kapatae no tora the price little fongalie women mal bonte mutira ngori de magidile ragamora seni pon como ngati yo menye de moire se palora de